Okay, I moved that front nose section over here so I can demonstrate the next step along with a couple other pieces. As you can see here, I went around it and I added lines on all the natural lines of the plastic. This differentiates each metal piece that would have been typically riveted or put together. So now, you need to take an object that has a hole or drill a hole yourself. In this case, I'm using a Bondo spreader. I put a hole near the edge so I can see my other lines as I lay this out. You lay this down against the panel as flat as possible. Then airbrush in there what would show up as the rivet. And around each seam that you have, that you just made with your airbrush and your tape, you would put one of these rivets. It's important to imagine as you look around these things all the different panels and how they would have been held together if they really were pieces of sheet metal. Do a few on this tank to be a little bit easier perhaps to see. Here on this tank we have shown several different pieces of metal. Here, one across the back. So I've already put a couple rivets here in the bottom. Now we need to go back and put one in the corner of each of these seams. You start getting into round pieces, it's a little harder to imagine where they might have had their rivets. But again, it's up to your discretion and what you think would look best or more realistic. After you go around, you put your rivets in all these spots you airbrush, there's one last step to making them look realistic. I'm going to go get the original silver that we used, and I'll demonstrate that for you next. To demonstrate this next step on some of these other pieces, probably be a little bit easier to see. But of course, if you're familiar with the pop rivet, once the rivet breaks apart, or fastens to the panel, it leaves a tiny little pin in the center of it that breaks off. So in order to duplicate that, I've got some of the original silver that we used. You can use a fine brush, or in my case, I rolled up a piece of tape as small as I could. You grab that silver on here, and you put a little dot in the center of each rivet. That will help to duplicate what that rivet would have looked like when that pin broke off. It doesn't need to be perfectly centered or perfectly round, because in real life, the rivet does not look that way either.
Sorry.
I'll put a few on these panels that might be easier to see. Now these rivets you can make lighter if you prefer, or darker. There are different types of rivets. There's aluminum rivets, there's also stainless steel rivets. Each of these come in or appear to be a little bit different shape. So really it's up to your preference which one you prefer the look of. Either one is really more realistic than another. As you can see, as you go around and you put this dot of that silver in the center of each one, it really helps bring everything together and look it more realistic. Now after we apply the clear coat to this and bring it out in the sun, all of these brush marks will pop out and you'll really have the effect that you're looking for. I'll show you that in just a moment. The last step for our project today is to apply the clear coat. This will give durability to our paint job and shop now. We have all the pieces that have been clear coated. So we're going to walk around and show you what they look like now in the sun. You'll be able to notice all the brush marks that we put in to make it look like brushed aluminum, as well as all the shadowing to differentiate the different pieces of metal, as well as all the pop rivets. Once these dry, we'll color sand them. We'll add our next set of graphics, and we'll clear them one more time. But for now, I like to just show you what they look like in just the metal look.